There is something cathartic and something healing about expressing yourself.
Dance was such a quick way to have young people feel heard.
It's just like a dialogue that's happening spirit to spirit. It's just energy.
Soul expression started as a trauma-informed dance intervention without a particular form of dance. It's a collaboration between Boost Child and Youth Advocacy Center, Ryerson University, and Unity Charity. It was weekly sessions in the Toronto community to help reduce trauma symptoms. So it was a really kind of open opportunity for youth to engage in something that was therapeutic and intentionally trauma-focused.
And we were looking at trauma symptoms, reducing trauma symptoms, and looking at pre and post indicators of whether their experience with the program would reduce those symptoms.
Through Boost's relationship with Unity Charity, it was sort of an organic development that hip-hop became the dance that was used.
What can I say about hip-hop dance? It's super expressive. The facial expression is like part of it, and style is part of it. It's very improvised, and you're in the moment and you're expressing, but again, there's control, which is such a powerful thing to take into the rest of your life, to know that like, I can be full of emotion and expressing myself, but still be in control.
I use hip hop as a way to self-heal, specifically breaking. I didn't even like a breaking at first. I just had to get out of my crib. Friends in my neighborhood were breaking, so I used to go there and just hang out, and then I started practicing, and then I started going every week, and like over time I realized, I'm like, oh, I like this. And I realized like after a session when I'm exhausted, I feel better, physical and my mental. Because like it is a very creative dance. You have to find a new approach and like a way in and out of movement. So I really found myself like relieving myself and healing myself.
I went into the program scared, but I came out more confident.
There is so much intention that should and could be going into if you aim for something to be trauma-informed, if you aim for your participants to feel safe enough to attend program. A big one was, is it accessible for transportation? Because a lot of our participants were coming on public transportation. In addition to that though, is also like, where are youth, and especially youth who may benefit from not only a free hip hop dance program, but this is a free program with great instructors, also a free meal, also honoraria. We wanted to put it in a community where youth are not necessarily having many opportunities like that.
In this dance group, you're able to ask questions, and they're able to answer and help you feel safe and secure.
There were several therapists who were involved from the very beginning who helped develop the curriculum. It was important for us to find somebody who felt as passionate and as excited about the project.
So a soul expression session, to me, really starts with the facilitators setting up the space, playing some music, being able to welcome the participants as they come in the room in a calm hangout vibe. Then it goes into the grounding, which was with the trauma therapist.
Yeah, and I'd really use that time to like do that one-on-one check-in, right? Like the dance facilitators, like you all would check in, and then we would also do a little bit of one-on-one, and there was like way less pressure. And I would get a feel of like, oh, is the group overwhelmingly up here today?
Right.
Or is the group like overwhelmingly like down here today? And what do we need for grounding? That's that trauma-informed approach, right? Of knowing my script, then being able to adjust it based on who are the young people that are coming in and what are their needs in that moment.
Then in our sessions, the dancers would, go into the dance technique piece, which wasn't, here's a choreography and let's drill it, but more a skill or a concept. Again, that trauma-informed piece was like, there's no right or wrong way to do this.
Another really important component of the program is the relationship. So when we talk about trust and safe space, it is the commitment to the relationships.
We had one participant just like in the back, not wanting to participate.
Stationary.
Yeah, Caldera had the whole group be like, let's join. We're gonna join this participant in the anger. this is the pose we're all growing from. And it was a choice where it's like navigating that this is play, but we also don't want to make fun. But it was done in such a respectful way of validating. And I think that's why it worked, was Caldera was like, yes, you are standing in your power and you're saying no, and that is badass.
One of my main intentions is to, just hold space for the kids to just feel safe and kind of remember that they too hold power.
Being able to say, I know that everybody is part of this community that has experienced something potentially unsafe, and I'm not going to be judged, I'm not going to be asked about it, I don't have to talk about it, but I can come here and I have resources. I can trust myself and do what I want and what makes me feel comfortable as long as other people feel safe, and that is that community that was created in Soul Expression.
We all went through a hard thing. It's nice to know someone who went through a hard thing, so you know you're not alone.
And what I've learned is that trauma is held in the body.
What that process is within our brain is our survival stress responses. And so what we do is we help folks understand why that's happening and validate, like, oh, that makes so much sense.
It's like when I've had a bad day and I've had a session, I'm like, okay, it's not so bad. And later I learned there was like something scientific happening to me after, but that's the main thing, was like a trauma being released through the body, through movement.
What can also happen is what's living in your body is you're in these stress responses. So even the idea of inviting awareness to someone's body can be really terrifying.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more autonomy growing than choosing how I'm going to move my body.
Yeah.
To me, dance is letting go of whatever was inside of you and being free. No one is there to judge you. It just lets me be who I am. Just be there and dance. You're perfect the way you are.
Hip hop was born out of, a very specific area, very specific conditions. Melting pot in terms of the South Bronx culturally, right? Which is why hip hop draws from every different kind of music, especially Black, African, Latin rhythms. So everything is informed by social conditions when you talk about how hip hop came to be. And a lot of those conditions or similar conditions existed in other places, which is why hip hop has resonated so much, especially with people that feel marginalized. Like I said, the origins of hip hop is really in kids and having fun. But it quickly evolved into a form of like expression, and you got songs like The Message from Grandmaster Flash, where people are really describing traumatic circumstances. So that's the direct way that hip hop can confront trauma. It's a straightforward form of expression. That's the style, is you say what you mean. Then there's coming at it from an angle, and what I mean by that is anytime you're having fun, using your body, using your voice, developing confidence through that, it's more playful and it's fun, but I don't know, you're still healing.
Because it's not traditional talk therapy, it allows youth to access service in a different way, perhaps sometimes in a way that they're more comfortable with, and so it can actually act as a stepping stone to other forms of services. Because they're not processing their own trauma, it gives access to youth to see that support services are helpful, and hopefully, it could open up an individual's willingness to engage in other forms of trauma therapy down the road.
Some of the emotions I felt on my chest, I could let off easier. I could talk about them. The people there went through a lot of stuff, and I could relate to them.
The program is effective. It's effective in increasing skills and decreasing symptoms and engaging youth. The hope would be that it could be made available to other communities so that more youth have access to this kind of program.
It has really achieved that you'd hope that young people would get out of a program like this. And their sense of well-being and that idea of connection and belonging and developing relationships, wanting to continue dancing, wanting to re-enroll in the program again, not wanting to leave, and feeling really comfortable in their own bodies again, which I think for some young people that was really an important piece for them.
In order to properly implement the program, it's really important that there is both the arts-based organization involved to do the dance component, as well as a clinical service who can be responsible for the clinical oversight, given that it is a trauma-informed program.
And I would also hope that, that research and program evaluation would continue, so that we're always looking at how to improve the program and to continue its effectiveness.
What was so beautiful about Soul Expression was slowly over time letting young people feel comfortable, giving them the power to make a choice of when I'm going to participate and how, to feel comfortable connecting with their body or moving it, or maybe never, but watching it and knowing that that's an option.
This is the place where we remind ourselves, like, okay, even though it's for 2 hours a day, like, I feel good here. Despite my circumstances, there are places where I can feel empowered. There are places where I can feel safe and remind myself of what I'm capable of creating.
I remember one mom in particular at the last day of program, and she said, "Thank you so much. My daughter loved this program, and I feel like I have my daughter back."
We tell stories, we laugh, we cry. The last day was sad to leave.